All right, welcome to DBN's coverage of the Diplomats. It says the final word is ours, meaning Keith and myself, but not really in the interview stage. We give the final word, although we test their final word, and I think Tim's got a lot of testing. He says he has 9 pages of notes. But we welcome Tim, who was, I think,
Dave.
sixth place. We don't know his name. Who was sixth place in Olympus main event. We never heard of the guy before. He played Russia, and he picked Russia again. This time he finished third.
Yeah.
He kind of fucked some things up, though. We're going to talk about that in this game. First of all, about us. What do you think about that intro? Come on, the intro's pretty good, Tim.
It is really good. I submitted a few quotes, but unfortunately they had too much profanity.
They had a lot of profanity. I'm sorry.
It's a family show. All right, so you're going into the Nexus 9 season main event. I want to ask you about your semifinal game, which is, if I'm not mistaken, somewhat controversial. How did you make the finals?
Wait, my semifinal get from Nexus or from Olympus? From Nexus?
From Nexus. Was it controversial or was that somebody else?
Well, to be fair, I was kind of thrown to, but I don't think there was any controversy surrounding it. I basically played an IT, and Turkey decided that they were okay with me winning until they one day decided they mysteriously weren't anymore, and we fought for a bit, and then I won.
Okay. For someone who had not a lot of diplomacy background, you've played 2 high-level games.
Back to back.
You like us, like me and Keith, all we did was cover it, and that's been exhausting for us. Like, what about you? You played 2. I don't think I could play 2 back to back. Are you like, how are you living?
Yeah, I'm a little burned out. I took the bye on Olympus prelims because I didn't want to play anymore, and I don't know. It is how it is. But I think they were good games. We played some good games.
Were you? You were.
We just covered the finals. You played the preliminaries and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you played a virtual game in the middle of that.
Also true. I did do that. Although that did not take an inordinate amount of time, fortunately.
No. I think, were we in that game together?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Oh, it was at the same time. I came and talked to you guys afterward.
Yeah.
All right. So here you go. You were picking 5th and you got 5th. And you got Russia. Like, you could have picked Russia, Germany, or Turkey, but you went back to Russia. Why?
Well, I genuinely just think Russia is better than Germany, Austria, and Turkey. And then I think the other 4 are like all good, and France is the best. But I think, like, I don't know. I considered picking Germany. I think maybe even I would have been pretty successful this game if I had picked Germany. I think it would have been a pretty good diplomatic position for me. But I didn't really want to play Germany because I know the openings for Germany can be kind of difficult with like Burgundy in 01 and having to cover Munich and like deciding whether or not to give Russia Sweden or not, which I feel like you would usually bounce Russia out of Sweden. But yeah, I would rather play Russia than Germany, I think, just because, I don't know, I'm familiar with it. I kind of know what to do, and yeah.
Okay. What did you know about any of these players going into this game? For some reason, I had the belief that you knew Cedric, or Cedric and you tried to bond. I don't know if that's right. Tell us the truth.
Okay, I'll just go down the list. Varmint, I did not know was Rob O'Brien, but I had seen Rob O'Brien on the DBN broadcast a lot, but other than that, I didn't really know him. Philip, I saw your interview with him, and I was actually fairly excited to play with him. I thought he seemed very genuine and like a very pleasant person to play with, maybe my style. Cedric, I didn't really know, other than the fact that we played in an anonymous prelim together in which I thought he hated me because he played Turkey and I played Germany, and yeah, we just had some very unpleasant interactions in that game. I think like my first interaction with him, because he subbed into that game, he wasn't playing the whole time, but when he subbed in, my first interaction with him was like him asking me for something that I thought was unreasonable, and I was like, well, I can't do that. And he was like, well, you can work with me, or you like her. I think he said like, you overestimate my taste for subtlety. Like help me achieve my objectives or don't. And like it was not good. Richard I hadn't played with before. Darcy I kind of knew by reputation a little. And I think I talked to a little prior to the game. And Nikita, I only knew via the controversy that happened.
So yeah, that has to, we'll talk to Nikita about that. That has to be with how he got into the finals, and we talked about that a little bit. But I guess what I want to talk to you about is good job, Keith. Gave the whole game away. Uh, even before we see these moves, which are all very standard for Russia, what diplomatic goals were you trying to achieve, and how did you feel things were shaking out?
Right. So I didn't want it to be an EG because that went badly for me last game. Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, with how the diplomacy went, I really wanted Sweden. And Cedric promised me that if it was an EG, I was going to get Sweden. And my opening press to Cedric was fantastic. I think Cedric and I hit it off. I was slightly less sure that he was being genuine than I was later in the game, but I think Cedric's press is phenomenal.
What makes it good?
He's really personable. He comes across as a good player, but still genuine. And I think that's like really difficult to do. I think it's really difficult to be perceived as both competent and also like a Care Bear. And I think Cedric is like the only player I have ever met that met that intersection for me.
You had a love affair with Jordan in the Olympus season finals. Compare it to Jordan's.
I think because Jordan and I never shared a border that game, I was never tested in my ability to trust Jordan. Like I never had to trust Jordan because Jordan was just like always working for me. But I think there was a lot of similarities. So for example, Cedric, I'm not sure if it was strictly in Springo one, but eventually asked me for basically the same kind of like info sharing. He was like, yeah, we should share info. Like or it definitely wasn't Springo one because it was like he was surprised that I just stabbed someone in the South and he wished he had been keyed in on that. And like obviously it's good for him to know things that are going on, but that sort of like info sharing relationship Cedric definitely wanted with me. But I think it's hard to tell because in this game, I was tested in whether or not I thought Cedric was eventually going to come stab me or not. And I came down on the side of Cedric was not going to do that. And I was never tested in that way with Jordan.
Well, okay. So what about the other players?
Yeah. Rob, I had good press with. I got the impression he was losing the political battle in the West, so that it was probably going to be an EG. And this was not great news, but it was how it is. Darcy, we opened up, and my opening press with Darcy was kind of disastrous, to be honest, because Darcy, basically, it wasn't disastrous in the sense of hostile, but basically what Darcy said, or like Darcy explicitly said, like, I'll consider an alliance later or something like that. Because like I make the typical pitch, like, okay, if we're going to do this EGR thing, or like if you're going to be in an EG, you're going to need someone with the Northern Fleets. Same pitch that I give to Leonardo. I will be your Northern Fleets. And if you don't have Northern Fleets, you're going to lose to England because that's just how the game works. And Darcy was like, yeah, like that would be nice, but like let me check in with England first, or let me see like how my relationship is with England first, and also like if maybe like I'll be interested in an alliance in a bit. And I'm like, I just want an alliance right now. No, like well, are we not allies? And I did not say this, but that was my impression with Darcy. That Darcy viewed his primary ally as Germany, as always going to be either England or France, and it would be a hurdle to get him to play with Russia. He also did not tell me he was going to open like this, by the way. I did not know that I was getting Sweden guaranteed, but It is how it is. Yeah. With the South, opening press with the big thing in the South, big thing in the South was that I learned after the draft occurred that Philip and Richard had played their prelim game together where they played a very tight, FG. And I was like, oh, maybe I should have picked Germany. But it was how it is. And the moment I learned this, I resolved I was not going to AIR. So I had a very solid relationship with Nikita, I think, at the beginning. And I don't think Nikita really angled anyone else particularly hard. I think I also had fairly solid opening press with Philip. Philip is very personable. He's just very, very pleasant to talk to. And we had some good talks. And I decided, well, if I'm not going to AIR and I'm not going to just attack nobody, I guess Austria is my first target. And this was this decision was bulwarked by a couple of things, which was that, first of all, Richard, like in terms of long-term planning, I think went a little bit less in depth than the other two players in the South, in terms of just like the depth of content that we were talking about. But I think more importantly, I'm not sure if this is actually true or not. This could have just been a ploy by Cedric, but Richard allegedly leaked to Cedric that I said I was going to open North when I did not say I was going to open North. I said that was a possibility, and that we could talk about it, but I never said that I was going to open North because I was not going to open North this game because I had really good relationships with Cedric. And that really damaged our relationship. And also, simultaneously, Richard attempted
It damaged your relationship with Austria, but not Cedric.
Right. Yes.
Why?
Because Austria leaked, and I it's just too hard for me to play with people who leak and who like go behind my back to try to sabotage me in other theaters. I think like the big thing is like I don't want another incident like with Ezio, where like my ally actively wants me to fail and is going to conduct press in such a way to cause me to fail, even though we're in an alliance together. And then the same thing occurred with his press with Turkey, I think. Because originally Turkey and I agreed to do the Armenian fist bump because we were like, it's an AI, we're just going to play an RT and we're going to fist bump in Armenia. And then I went and told Austria that I was going to go slip into Black Sea because I wanted an excuse to DMZ Galicia. And then he like told Turkey to bounce me in Black Sea for some reason. And I'm not sure why he did this, but apparently it happened. And this was like the second like red flag for me with Austria. So at this point, I decided I was going to go after Austria. I arranged the Galicia DMZ by telling Turkey that I was going to go to Black Sea, by telling Austria that I was going to slip into Black Sea unopposed while the Armenian fist bump occurred, and that would require me to have a DMZ in Galicia, but I was never going to do that. And then eventually,
did you eventually work out this bounce into black with Turkey? Or are you saying that because Austria leaked it, Austria ends up helping Turkey and Turkey bounces you? Did you know this bounce was happening or not? I guess is my question.
Yes, I knew this bounce was happening. This was completely cordial between me and Turkey. We just decided that this was the best thing to do because he wanted to have like a little bit of rapport with Austria going into the fall, and I didn't think it would be an especially big deal if we bounced in Black Sea or Armenia, or because like this way he was like doing what Austria told him to do. I think was
Keith. What do you think about the Armenian fist bump?
Takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of trust.
I've never done it. I can't. I don't think I could do it.
I've done it a couple of times, legitimately, but as a turkey that always likes to attack Russia, more than likely I'm going to slip in the Black Sea as Turkey.
Yeah,
and as Russia,
I agree with this heuristic. By the way, I think Turkey should just attack Russia in most games. But yeah,
I think most turkeys die in the corner, and if they actively attack Russia, then more than likely Italy and Austria have no reason to attack Turkey. They can attack each other at that point.
Yeah.
All right. So
I guess one more thing in spring was that Philip slipped into Tyrolia. This was because I told Italy that I was violating the Galicia DMZ, and this was so that we could have some play on Vienna, allegedly. But yeah.
Okay. And so I can't remember what Richard said. Is this a violation of the Galicia DMZ here between you and Richard? Did you both violate it, or was this agreed?
Yeah, we both violated it. This was kind of a like, haha, like I guess we bounced. No harm, no foul. Let's bounce again, I guess. Smile. And that's basically what happened.
I think that's what I said. I was like, one bounce is caution, two bounces is war. So you guys bounced twice.
Yeah.
So you're getting Sweden here. That's got to be good as you enter the fall negotiations.
Right. That was very good. I guess another thing was that England was going to open to the channel, but at the last moment decided not to, and this was a big deal to me because it meant I didn't know Darcy was not going to be able to bounce me in Sweden, but it meant that England would not have cause to require Darcy to bounce me in Sweden. But yeah, I knew I was getting Sweden. This was good. I thought that this was an angle for an FG because I feel like if you put the fleet in Holland, I mean, I think this opening is just bad as Germany, but I also think that it's not an EG opening to put the fleet in Holland.
This is an amazing.
I don't think it is. I do not think it is an EG opening.
It's an amazing start compared to your Olympus.
Yeah,
I think
diplomatically. Diplomatically though, this was a much worse start than I had in Olympus because I don't think I was because Italy and Austria are tied together, and I need to break this up somehow. And I don't think I'm Austria's first choice of ally, and I am not entirely sure I'm Italy's first choice of ally either. So I think it was kind of hard. I don't know.
Was there a discussion at this point of an heir? I mean, you see Austria and Italy highly coordinated.
Right.
It's a great start for them. You don't really know what's happening, but you in the West. Could be an EF. It doesn't appear to be an FG. Could be an EG. I would have thought air would have been what happened here, but you did talk about how you had problems with Austria. The second bounce was arranged.
Right. Second bounce was arranged. Like I said, I was just never gonna air. To be honest, like I think I would just be too likely to be the odd man out in that triple, just knowing that they had worked together before, and worked together really well to the end with no stabs. And I just I don't think I had the rapport with Austria especially to be comfortable airing from this position. And I think I did have the rapport with Turkey.
Okay, so I'm assuming Smyrna and Armenia was a trust but verify move.
No, I asked him to do that. I don't know. It's just like Syria but better.
Okay, all right.
I was just a better unit than Syria. Like there's some like diplomatic plays
Oh,
that
yeah.
Turkey can make.
We're
That
giving
move
the
to
kid
Armenia.
a shit, and it's requested.
So what is your read now of what's going to happen? You need to break up AI. You need to figure out what's going on in the West. What's the read?
Right. I think I knew at this point it was probably just an EG. I should have told France because France ended up not building a breast. I had made the same mistake twice. I should have just told France that this was an EG, and I knew it was an EG. Right now,
I don't think Rob would have believed you, to be honest. I mean, I think Rob had to trust Cedric, according to him. I'm not sure it would have made a difference.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think he was also in a diplomatically very difficult position because Darcy was going to build 2 armies here. Or we'll talk about that in winter. But yeah, so my biggest thing is we're going to EG. It's going to be an EGR. We're not going to touch the north. We're all going to leave the north. And I'm not going to get blasted in the north yet. And then eventually, Germany's going to need me. This is the plan, right? Because like if I side with England against Germany after an EGR, like England is almost certainly going to win the game. So I'm thinking Germany is going to need me. Germany is going to continue to need me as the EG progresses, and I'll eventually have some play in the north. And then in the south, yeah, there's an AI. I need to break up the AI. I don't think Austria has any stab in Italy, so it just has to be Italy stabbing Austria. And I am not going to stab Turkey.
Okay. You mentioned Germany in the 2 builds before you get to it. Did you know he was going to build 2 armies beforehand?
I did not. This was... I mean, it's not strictly speaking bad for me, but I don't think it's strictly speaking good for me either. I don't know. I mean, on one hand, Germany needs me, right? I know Germany needs me now. He's built 2 armies. Like the offer of fleets in the north, like he has 1 fleet in the north, and I have the other 2. If I want,
Germany needs you, and he can't really put any pressure on Sweden.
Right.
You know, without a fleet, or certainly not Baltic Sea.
Right.
So but you're building in St. Petersburg because you have to.
Yeah. But the difficulty is that I know Darcy, I'm not sure if he told it to me yet, but at some point soon will tell me that his whole pitch as an alliance partner is that he's okay with getting 2nd or 3rd, because he only needs the DB9 points and he doesn't have to win. So he's just going to go to the end and he'll be like, he'll be a good Janissary or whatever. And
you felt that in the beginning stages of the game, he was thinking that.
No, he just told it. He just said it. I don't know if this is what he was actually thinking.
But early, okay. Of course, people say things all the time that may or may not be true. But yeah,
exactly, right. So he could have meant it. He could have not meant it. I think judging by his play, he probably did mean it. But we'll talk about that later because it's like a big topic. But yeah, that this was concerning to me because I think building 2 armies as Germany and an EG where England got 2 builds in 01 is like so something's a little off here. Like this is not like a fair alliance between Germany and England. And yeah, I was not especially thrilled to see 2 army builds, even though
you're not the only one telling Darcy this. France is telling Darcy this. I guess Italy and Austria and Turkey don't care.
Right. So I'm talking to France a lot at this point and being like, okay, how are we going to break up this EG? Can we get Germany to stab England or England to stab Germany? And I think at this point, we need Germany to stab England because we need to get Germany a 2nd fleet build. So yeah, I try my best to make to like plant seeds in Darcy's mind that like this is not going to be a fair alliance, and basically all the same arguments that France is making to Darcy, I'm making to him too. And I'm sure France is doing an even better job or an even more thorough job of explaining these things to Darcy, which I'm sure he understands because like if you're playing for 2nd, you're playing for 2nd. That's just how it is. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. You decide to move south because I guess the EG is telling you, hey, we're just moving everything further west.
Right. So I definitely could have messed with England, and for the next like very long time, I could have messed with England. But without Darcy on board, I think messing with England would not have would. I think it's hard to say. I think it would have been viable for me to mess with Norway because like I could have taken Norway basically at any point I wanted this game, and I think it would have been okay. But I think the result of it would have just been the EG turning around at me, and I don't think we win the fight. Like I don't think France and I will beat the EG. So I think ultimately we need to create a situation in which we can stab England together and where Germany is on board. And I didn't think that was 0-1. So everyone's just like, yep, we're going to demilitarize. I'm good at this. I'm generally very trusting when it comes to just demilitarizing things, and we're just going to dip. And it's not like the Moscow unit isn't useful. The Moscow unit, I think, is fairly useful in terms of like covering Sev, and just having another army in the south actually does end up being a big deal. And also, keeping Germany on side is really important here. Because if Germany does not want me to stab England, then the Silesia unit is a massive pain. And right now, the Silesia unit is my unit. It's friendly.
You knew this was happening.
Right. So it's going to help me break the AI. So
what about the Black Sea?
The Black Sea was invited. Turkey was down. I think it was necessary. I think it would be at this point unwise for Russia to not be in the Black Sea. Yeah, just because we know we're losing Bulgaria, yada yada. But at this point, I'm starting to talk to Philip about potential false stabs on Austria because I can see he's probably going to be in Serbia. I think at this point, actually, I was lying to Austria and saying that I was going to AIR just for like an extra chance of getting into Galicia. But like, obviously, Austria didn't buy it, and this is just
AIR is, Keith, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the AIR is the natural response to an EG. Keith,
I mean, anything with Germany, an AIR will hold that line. So,
but you didn't want to do it because the relations with Austria had been frayed, and it seems like you're pretty much vibing with Turkey, and you got a chance with Italy, is the way I'm reading it.
Right, exactly. And like I need growth somewhere. Like I could try to get growth out of Turkey, but like I think the AI are just gonna stick together if I try to AIR from this position. I don't know. I could have been wrong. Like it would have been probably fine to AIR.
If you think about it long term, if you're in an RT and there's still an EG on there, all that pressure's on you. So usually that gives it to Turkey.
That is true.
But
I was considering winter
they stick together. I mean, you're hoping that they don't because you have a good rapport with at least one of them.
Right.
But
I mean, do you know that Bulgaria is getting attacked here? I assume you do because it's the first move
right
of an AI. Romania is probably getting cut. I'm assuming none of this is a big surprise.
Yeah, none of this is at all surprising to me. It's just that Silesia is good.
But you were going to say something before I cut you off about something looming.
Oh yeah, I was working very hard right now to get Philip to look to stab Austria soon, because like we were saying, well, we're going to winter green, right? We are currently in a winter green. So say the allegations. And if we are currently in a winter green, I think the most efficient thing to do is just to kill Austria at this moment and then go kill Turkey later. Because like I'm in Black Sea. Like my attack on Turkey is fantastic. I'm just not going to do it until you stab Austria. And our attack on Austria is also fantastic because like as you can see, Italy has basically 50-50 to go +3 this year. So basically that's in the works. My rapport with Turkey is still good. I'm still like trying to keep him alive, keep his spirits up, because right now he's pretty depressed, right? Like this is not a great opening for Turkey with the Aegean acceleration. But yeah, it mostly is how it is. But I think the big thing in 1902 for me is like the EGR and getting the EGR set up and making sure we're everyone is happy with the EGR and nobody wants anything other than the EGR.
So you get the stabs, sort of.
Right. So yeah, Philip stabs Austria here. He didn't know whether Austria was going to take Trieste or not, as you already knew. So this was just ended up being a guess.
Richard just said he just moved there.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny in his interview. He's like, I thought it might be happening, but I was just going to take Trieste anyways.
I mean, to be honest, I think that was correct. I think it was very good to not let Philip know that he could have bounced him out of Trieste. But yeah, this was just like a solid stab. We killed him. He's gonna die soon, probably. We still have this Bohemia unit, and at this point, Darcy is like, I need a build from Vienna. Give me a build from Vienna next year, and I will build a fleet, and we can go fight England. Which is fantastic, right? Like, this is exactly what I want to hear. Even though like it's a little bit of a hassle for me to guarantee that he gets Vienna, It's actually a rather large hassle. It's still what I want to hear. It's good. North continues to be demilitarized, or I guess we can talk a little bit more about the stab. So basically the idea, right, is just like, it's a wintergreen. We're going to kill them. And like, they're basically dead. Like, I'm in Black Sea. It's not like Turkey has a fleet adjacent to Black
But to
Sea.
be fair,
even.
you're telling Turkey it's an RT. You have good relations with both.
Right. Exactly.
You
So
are
I get
affirmatively helping Turkey here. It's bad
I am
news for
doing this.
Austria, but it is definitely good for Turkey.
Right. But I think either choice I could make from this position is reasonable. I would even say that it is probably more reasonable to wintergreen from this position than it is to stab Turkey. So we'll get to that in next year.
Keith, you're nodding.
Yeah, I mean, this screams wintergreen, and if you have an EG, I mean, having Italy in pocket, it's going to make Germany think a little bit more about, hey, if Italy is going to help me, then I actually have some pressure against France and England on the other side with Russia. So this is a good alliance.
Oh, interesting. I guess I didn't think about it like that. I guess the way I was thinking about it was France is not in the game. So if Italy is strong, nobody's ever going to fight Italy. Because like if we kill Austria, we kill Turkey, and France is also being killed. Like it's just me and Italy duking it out in the south. But I guess the same is true with Turkey. So yeah.
Yeah, the split's very similar with Turkey, except Turkey can build in your backyard a little bit easier.
Right, that's true.
A couple of things here. One is you see Cedric fully moving away from you. I mean, not North Sea, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And go back. And slow progress by Germany here. I'm curious. You were talking about demilitarizing, everybody moving away, but yet we see that army in Denmark. I guess Darcy felt like he couldn't move Kiel away. Was this discussed with? And I think we were even talking about on the show, Sweden to Bothnia. Like maybe everybody move away. Were there discussions on that point?
Right. I was never asked to leave Sweden, so I was just not going to leave Sweden because, like, I mean, I like being able to stab my allies. That's fantastic. But as with respect to Darcy demilitarizing Denmark, they're just like, it was just like difficult to find a way to do it. Like the army's just there, and the fleet is in Kiel, and whichever way he moves the fleet is going to be like angry.
You don't want the fleet to move to Berlin or Baltic. Cedric doesn't want it in Helgo under Holland.
Right.
The army can't do anything against you if there's no adjacent piece. So that's why I was kind of curious.
Yeah. I think the big thing is I once again could have taken Norway. I mean, I guess I technically didn't know if Sweden was getting tapped or not, but like I could have taken Norway. And like even now, I think it would have been perfectly reasonable to take Norway as a Russia here. But I think England's press was just so good. And also I had some amount of faith that Darcy was on side and we had a plan, but we didn't want to stab England yet. That I didn't want to break the peace right now.
And you're feeling good with Darcy now.
Right now, I am still feeling pretty good with Darcy. I'm getting like a little bit antsy. Like the stab opportunities are going to come, right? There's going to be a stab next year. I would have preferred if the stab happened right now. Like I think there's a perfectly fine stab on England literally this moment if we wanted it. It's like roughly as good as the stab next year is, but sure, fine. We can wait a year.
You have one enemy, as best I can tell, and the rest are friendly towards you. Not bad for 1902.
Yeah, this was a good opening to the game, I think.
I think maybe one of us may have picked you. I may have picked you at the end of 1902. I'm not sure. Okay, no builds though. So let's go to those, Keith.
Yeah, nothing surprising here.
Yeah, and so 1903 is a momentous year for you. What's going on?
Okay, spring. So here I picked between Italy and Turkey, and I picked Turkey. I picked this for a few reasons. First of all, I want to say I feel really bad for Philip because I feel especially bad in diplomacy when I make stabs that are not good or that don't have clear reasoning. Like, because like I will always explain why I stabbed you, right? Like I think it's just like a courtesy thing. Like you have to but I really struggle to explain to Philip why I stabbed him here. And why I didn't just kill Turkey. Because like I have a great attack on Turkey, do I not? Like I just support myself in Armenia. Ankara is guaranteed. Like I can even guarantee Ankara with like a convoy from Romania if I want. Man, it would have been good.
I think you could split Turkey in.
Did you feel like you had to choose between the two of them?
Yeah.
Or could you just like attack Austria and play it forward.
Nah, I had to choose because I was promising Philip that I was going to stab Turkey the next turn, and like that was really the only way to get him to stab Austria. So I think
you
I did have to choose this turn.
You could resolve the East in like 2 years, and then Italy can prop up France before they can crack it in because they took forever to crack Rob.
Right.
It would have been a good position.
Yeah, I think
I guess several questions appear because you're attacking Italy. You're not attacking Vienna with Germany.
Yes, this was kind of a confusing negotiation because Germany, the previous turn was like, "I need Vienna last year. Promise me you're going to give me Vienna next year." And I'm like, "I'll do my best, and it'll probably happen." And this year he's like, "Yeah, actually, I'm okay if I want to go to Tyrol. If you want me to go to Tyrolia here and go after Italy." And I'm like, "I guess." And I didn't force the issue on putting him into Vienna in spring. I do want to say with respect to the decision here, I think one big thing is that Italy's position is never going to be vulnerable to me, like ever. Like Italy's just going to have a really, really solid position. It's also not going to be vulnerable to France. But I think Turkey's position in at least the near future is going to be very vulnerable to me. Like I think I'll be able to stab Turkey like pretty strongly going forward, just because I get to keep this fleet in the Black Sea basin, and Turkey's fleets are already out and about. And he's going to build Fleet Smyrna, right? Like he's going to build Fleet Smyrna. And I think that is a big contributing factor. And I think the second big contributing factor is that I am a little bit cautious about how big I can be perceived, because I know there are powers on the other side of the board that can police me if that's something that they decide is a good idea. And if I get too big in the south, I was a little bit worried about early leader syndrome as Russia from this position. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure that this was a good stab, and it probably wasn't.
A few more questions here.
Makes a good point.
Why? Well, okay. If you're gonna stab Italy, why not put? I know this is a crazy question, but why not put Bulgaria into Serbia? Because at some level, he builds another fleet. He attacks Italy. He becomes more vulnerable under your fleet theory. Serbia is difficult for Russia to hold. He can't take Greece, but he can take it the next year, maybe.
That is a fair point, but like, I'll take the dot. Like, I mean, there's a dot, and I'm being
pretty sure that's why I said it's a crazy question.
Yeah.
But okay, and there was no thought of just like attacking Budapest here, like from Romania. I thought that's what we thought would happen.
I thought Vienna was going to support Old Budapest because I don't remember why I thought this, but I thought that Vienna would probably support Old Budapest and Bohemia was going to go to Tyrolia for some reason. So I didn't think I could get into Budapest.
So you took what you thought would for sure happen.
Right. I think if I thought I could get Budapest from this position with fairly high certainty, I would have gone for it. But I knew I was going to go Serbia, and I think Budapest was like 50-50 or something.
And why not go Ukraine to Romania supported by Galicia in that case? Is
right.
That because you're trying to make nice with Austria?
It's because it was the deal with Austria. Austria offered me the support to Serbia, and I said, okay. And he said, well, then you have to leave Galicia. And I'm like, okay, can I put it in Romania? And he's like, okay, I guess. And we have conversations about me, like you said in his interview, like moving north, eventually attacking Turkey, right? Like all the normal things that we definitely have to talk about. I think one mistake that I did make here, or not a mistake, but just like unfortunate consequence of my negotiation with Austria, was that he kind of knew he could like double support trio. Actually, maybe this isn't true. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. But basically, yeah. I get a deal with Austria that is going to be like a brief RAT. I kind of know I'm just going to go right back. Because from this position, I need to attack someone. Like the growth has to come from somewhere, and it's not going to be Turkey, so it kind of has to be Austria. So I knew that I was going to go back to Galicia if after thinking about it for a little bit. But like it was nice to entertain for a second, I guess.
Without any fleets, Austria has no value to you.
Yeah.
How did Philip react? You talked about how personable he is. He's a nice guy. He's a bit of a salesman.
Yeah.
And now you've done this to him.
Philip was devastated, and like understandably so. Like, I mean, I don't even think it was like a good stab. So I would also be super upset if I got stabbed from this position as Italy, especially like given the position that he was being offered was about to be like fantastic, and he was about to be able to go west and help like stop England and like maybe shore up France and take French dots eventually. And like Like he had a very bright future ahead of him if I did not stab him here.
I'm not saying you made a mistake, but I am asking you, did you think you made a mistake? Or were you okay with this as it turned out?
I was okay with it. I thought my position was still good. I was still probably going to be able to take some stuff off Austria. I'm in Serbia. That's a build. That's a dot. And I still have my fleet on Turkey, and Turkey is going to build fleet Smyrna, right? Agreed. And I'm gonna be able to stab Turkey eventually. Probably not anytime soon. But I'm always going to have this fleet. This fleet is never going anywhere. And that was basically why I thought my position was very solid.
So let's move it to the fall.
Okay. The big thing here is the north, right? Because like you talked about with France, there's the stab on England that could have happened. And it would have been a damn good stab, and he would have died, and my position would have been great. But God, okay. So I guess the chronology of what happens. This turn goes through, I see the stab, and I'm like, we should do it. That would be cool. But I
Not
also,
this turn, you mean the spring move.
Yeah. The spring move. But the thing is, God, Cedric was just such a good diplomat. Like I genuinely just thought like Cedric and I were care-bearing it out. And like I thought about it and I was like, I actually do not think he's going to come for St. Pete this game. I think when he says he's not going to take St. Pete this game, I think he actually meant it. And if he actually means it, then man, like I just like didn't want to stab him. So what happens is Germany comes to me. I think he's been convinced by France to do the thing, to just kill Cedric this moment. And I'm like, give me a day to think about it. Like, man, I really like England. And in my mind, if I'm Germany and I hear from Russia, man, I really like England. Like, I'm stabbing England, you know? Like I'm taking the stab that I can take in front of me. Like I think it's like really scary to be Germany as an EGR where Russia really likes England. And I would love to break us out of that as soon as possible. So a day goes by and eventually I'm like, okay, it's definitely the right move. We should stab England. I'm down. And then I go to France or France was also like DMing me at this point. I'm like, give me a day. But like
the stab is you take Norway, France supports Germany into Belgium.
Right. And also takes Brest and England is down to 3 and like extremely out of position, like fantastically out of position. Notably, the deal was never that Darcy would get Sweden. I don't think I would have agreed to it if the deal was Darcy gets Sweden, just because I thought I had a good.
He didn't need it at that point, anyways.
Right. He would have gotten his build. He could have put down his fleet. He would have had his fleet in Holland. Like I don't know what this army in Sweden would have been doing. It would not have been necessary. So I eventually come back and I'm like, okay, guys, I'm in. Let's go kill Cedric. And I actually did mean it. But at this point, something happened and Darcy was no longer down. And Darcy, for some reason, pulled out. And this was really sad for me.
Is this just before the deadline or is this hours?
It's like a day before the deadline.
Wow.
So something happened. I'm sure you'll hear about how Darcy and Cedric's negotiations were really crucial this
phase. You don't know what caused it to happen. You just
I don't know what caused Darcy to pull out. I just know that Darcy was down and then he was not. I think one thing that Darcy was worrying Darcy was that it would probably be an EF after. I know France said in his interview that there was no shot he was ever going to work with Cedric. But just looking at the position, I thought it was reasonable to assume that was an EF kind of position.
What do you think about that, Keith? I think that's not an unreasonable argument by Darcy. But on the other hand, where's the dude going to grow?
Right. On the other hand, like this is your last chance to stab England. And even if it is an EF after, I think we're just going to win that fight. Because I am never going to stab Darcy. Like if we stab England here, like Darcy and I are stuck together for the rest of the game. And we're going to grind down England and we're going to grind down France after that.
That takes so long to disentangle. I mean, he's in Brest. He's got 4 fleets on the west side. I don't know. I don't see an EF rolling out. I mean, obviously it can reform and they can shuffle around, but
he's got big problems. He has 2 disbands. England has 2 disbands, right?
Yeah, and he'd be losing North Sea, by the way. Germany would be in North Sea next spring, after the stab happens. It would have been a really good German position, in my opinion. I don't think Germany could have hoped for a better position than this after building 2 armies.
So if Darcy was in, you would have been in, is your story.
Yes. I would have stabbed England here if Darcy said yes in the end.
Did you try and convince him out of it? Or were you like, it's reasonable?
I didn't try very hard. And I should
Because
have
you
tried
didn't want
harder.
to do it.
Yeah,
But
because like in my heart of hearts, I didn't want to stab England. But I really should have tried harder to talk him back into it. But also, I think I was just like scared to touch Darcy at various points in time in this game. Because I think Darcy's press style is very foreign to me, and especially like because it's so sparse, you never really know like what's the right thing to say or like what's he truly thinking or why is he
What do
thinking
you
the
mean
way he
foreign
is.
to you? Just because it's little bits, or it's not long? It's not like Jordan's.
It is certainly not like Jordan's, I would say that. Um, but you would kind of just get like he would say something and then you'd be like, yeah, sure, and then you type in like a paragraph and then you'd send back like a thumbs up emoji or something. And then like maybe and then he'd come back to you and be like, well, I changed my mind or like or something like that. It would just be like you're getting I guess bits and pieces, but you're not getting all of the in between of like what's he thinking, and you're not getting to think things through with him, and that makes it hard for me. I think.
is he not thinking out loud? He's just telling you his decisions.
Yeah, I think mostly.
It's like negotiation via charades.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's look quickly at the winter builds here. You build in Warsaw, which I think is the right move if you're not going to stab Cedric, and you have an Austrian issue and an Italian issue.
Yeah, and then Ankara, man, this was crushing. Like this was actually crushing. I was so sad when this build went through. Okay, so to clarify, I was in Taiwan and I was asleep, and I woke up to messages from Turkey being like, earlier Turkey asked me like, "Are you building in St. Pete?" And I was like, "Probably not. I'm probably going to build in Warsaw or like maybe Moscow, but probably Warsaw." And then Turkey was like, and then this conversation never really got resolved. But while I was asleep, y'all released your commentary for the previous phase, and Turkey watched this commentary and was like, "Oh my god, Russia has such a good stab on me. He has to build in the north. We need Russia to fight in the north." And then he texted me being like, "Yo, I need you to build in St. Pete. Can you please build in St. Pete?" And I woke up and checked my messages like 10 to 20 minutes before the deadline. But like I was not reasonably expected to be awake. Like I had not been consistently waking up by the deadline. And I just ignored him and was like, I'm just gonna pretend I'm asleep for a bit and hope he put in Smyrna. And he did not put in Smyrna. Because we had agreed that he was gonna put in Smyrna before I had slept.
This was an accidental podcast lit.
Yeah, that when he accidentally released it, and this is horrible because you had just moved the fleet back.
I know. And we would have. This is so important, right? Because we have to break Ionian. Ionian needs to be broken, and because we build an egg, like I was never going to stab Turkey in a million years. Like to clarify, I was going to stab Turkey in like 2 years, but I was not going to stab Turkey in this position.
I was on your side. I was like, Ankara just means that they don't get any momentum at all. So
yeah, we break Ionian with the build in Smyrna. Like, oh my god.
No, I agree. It's the wrong build. I do.
Whatever. You and Josh are like building Khan. You can't trust Russia.
Well, okay, but that's because we didn't know that Black Sea was invited when you moved to
fair.
Black Sea, right?
I see.
And then you already hoodwinked Italy, so
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, looking at the position from like an actually neutral perspective, I can see what Turkey was concerned about. I think I would have had like an okay stab on him from this position, and I would have been the strongest power in the East. But I would not have taken it. And also, I think like the biggest thing that just like was so devastating about this build was now I need to give Turkey Serbia. Because like if we're playing an RT, like Turkey still needs his third fleet build. Otherwise, we're never getting past Ionian. And his third fleet build can only ever come from Serbia. So basically he's saying, I'm going to handicap myself to force you to give me a dot so that we can continue to make progress. And like, this is a big thing for me because I need my ally to be able to continue to make progress. Like this is a really important thing to me. Like I don't play alliances where I'm just going to like, let you like sit around and do nothing and eventually have to stab me because I don't want you to eventually have to stab me. I want you to have something to go and get. And by doing this, Turkey made it so that he couldn't go and get the things that he needed to go and get.
Okay,
Found himself in the leg and said, "Take care of me."
This is a good stopping point for part 1. We'll come back and do the decline and fall of Russia as we go through the next 7 years, which shouldn't take 45 minutes, but I'm going to stop this right here.